I think it's a man's responsibility to protect that relationship. And I didn't do that. Like I said, I was too driven, I guess, or whatever.
In May 2019, Kenny Rogers lay dying in a Georgia hospital, and his family believed the end was near. Then Dolly Parton arrived with a secret plan. She quietly brought in recording equipment and convinced Kenny to sing one final time. As his voice cracked, the words sounded like a farewell letter, leaving everyone in the room stunned. Hospital staff reportedly tried to stop the session, but Dolly refused to give up. That recording, raw, fragile, and deeply emotional, became one of the most heartbreaking songs the public would never hear on the radio. Kenny Rogers was born Kenneth Donald Rogers on August 21, 1938, in a small Houston hospital. He was the fourth of 8 children, raised in a cramped 2-room government housing unit at San Felipe Courts, where money was always tight. Some nights, dinner was nothing more than peanut butter on bread, and in the 1940s his father's best paycheck of $75 a week barely covered rent and food. Kenny worked early, cleaning floors in a hat store for $9 a week and carrying plates at the Rice Hotel, eventually saving $60 to buy a guitar from Sears. Growing up poor fueled his ambition, and at just 17, he became the first person in his family to graduate high school, a moment he later recalled with pride on national television. In high school, Kenny and a few friends formed a band called the Scholars, an ironic name for a group that thrived more on rhythm and charm than grades. They played local dances in veterans' halls, blending doo-wop with a touch of Elvis flair, and even recorded a song called Poor Little Doggy, selling 3,000 copies around Houston. The track landed him on a local TV show, Jivetown, and by the fall of 1957, at just 19 years old, Kenny recorded That Crazy Feeling. The small Houston label that released it didn't expect much, but the song exploded, selling 30,000 copies in Texas in just over 2 months and climbing to number 3 on local charts. That success led to a national breakthrough, and on February 15, 1958, Kenny Rogers appeared on American Bandstand for the first time, dressed in a powder blue jacket and singing his heart out. Though the song only reached number 51 nationally, it didn't matter. The camera loved him. Behind the rising fame, however, was a young man trying to build a family. On May 15, 1958, just 3 months after his breakout single, 19-year-old Kenny married Janice Gordon in a quiet Houston courthouse. She was 18 and 3 months pregnant. Kenny borrowed $75 for the marriage license, wore his only suit, and went straight to work at the carpet warehouse afterward. Their daughter, Carolyn, was born that September. At the time, Kenny said his entire net worth was a pawn trumpet and a beat-up Oldsmobile, but he was determined to make it work. He mapped club gigs on scraps of paper, squeezing $15 performances between diaper changes and factory shifts. Still, not everyone believed in him. Janice's parents thought he was dragging their daughter down, and in his 2012 memoir, Kenny admitted they believed he had ruined her life. Her mother circled job ads and slid them across the breakfast table, while Kenny scribbled guitar notes. That Christmas, they gave the couple only one gift, a framed photo of Kenny's band, but refused to hang it on the wall, warning him that if he couldn't promise a steady paycheck within a year, Janice should come home. The pressure wore down both Kenny and the marriage. By October 1959, everything collapsed. During a fight, Kenny stepped out to cool off, and when he returned, Janice and their 6-month-old daughter were gone, every blanket and toy packed. Divorce papers followed, and by April 1960, just 686 days after the wedding, the marriage was over. Kenny was already touring with the Bobby Doyle Trio, playing 6 nights a week for $55 a gig, most of which went toward motel rooms. Music became my mistress, he later admitted, and the mistress won. In 1961, Janice remarried, and Kenny made the painful decision to step back from his daughter's life, agreeing to see her only once a week for 2 hours. But his touring schedule made even that impossible, and by the end of the year, he had missed 42 of 52 visits. Heartbroken, he stepped away entirely, believing it was the only fair choice. By 1980, Kenny Rogers was selling out arenas worldwide, with crowds singing along to The Gambler and Lady. Yet one regret never left him. He hadn't seen his daughter in 15 years. He tried to reconnect, flying her and Janice to Hawaii for a reunion, but the trip ended in silence and distance. In 2012, Kenny finally said it out loud. He had chosen his career over his first child, a debt he knew he could never repay. 3 years later, during his final tour, he stood in front of 12,000 people in Atlanta and stopped mid-song, admitting that success had cost him things money could never replace, like teaching his daughter how to ride a bike. In that moment, the audience finally understood what Kenny Rogers truly meant when he sang about gamblers, chances, and the price of choosing one path over another. Kenny Rogers didn't step into fame as a bearded gambler everyone remembers. On May 3, 1966, at 27 years old, he arrived at a rehearsal in Los Angeles carrying a stand-up bass fresh from small-time jazz gigs and joined the 30-member folk group, the New Christy Minstrels. The group had already won a Grammy and sold over 5 million records, while Kenny had been earning just $50 a night in Houston clubs. National TV exposure came with rules. He had to shave his beard and wear a green blazer embroidered with the group's name. Their album sales jumped 12%, and their 1966 Christmas album reached number 73 on the Billboard 200, their best debut in 2 years. But by March 1967, Kenny and 4 other members grew frustrated with limited creative freedom and pay. On April 10, 1967, they quit together, rented a $28 a night Hollywood studio, and formed the First Edition. Kenny reinvented himself, growing his hair, piercing his ear, and investing his $8,000 savings into new gear. Within 6 weeks, Reprise Records signed them, giving them freedom over money and music. On October 10, 1967, their record had just dropped in with a quiet Glenn Campbell intro, and when it hit the radio in January 1968, it became a sensation, peaking at number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100 by February. Soldiers in Vietnam played it, and the band even appeared on the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. By May 1969, promoters were billing concerts under Kenny's name, and the 4th album was released as Kenny Rogers in the First Edition, doubling his songwriting cut and raising his live show pay to $2,500. Even though Kenny didn't sing the hit Ruby, Don't Take Your Love to Town, it reached number 6, selling 2 million copies. In 1971, the group launched a TV variety show Rolling on the River from a Toronto studio with a fake Mississippi riverboat set, featuring stars like B.B. King and Cheech and Chong. It aired on 163 stations, sometimes outperforming the Partridge Family, and ran until 1973. Meanwhile, Kenny's personal life was turbulent. His second marriage, to Jean, in 1960 ended quietly by April 1963, after realizing within 48 hours it had been a mistake. 6 months later, he married Margot Anderson, a 23-year-old Texas socialite, who was already pregnant with their son Kenneth Ray Rogers Jr., born May 24, 1964. Kenny spent 280 nights on the road that year, seeing his baby only 9 days in the first 6 months and sending Polaroids instead of hugs. By 1975, the First Edition had broken up, and Kenny launched a solo career with Lucille, playing 210 shows that year. Margot filed for divorce in April, citing extreme emotional stress due to his constant absence, and the divorce finalized on July 15, 1975, giving her the house, a Bic, and $60,000. Soon after, Kenny met Marianne Gordon, marking the next chapter in his personal life. Kenny Rogers' life changed overnight when he became a father to newborn twins at 65. Already a father of 3 grown children, the arrival of Justin and Jordan made him rethink everything. He stopped chasing tours, and Saturdays were no longer for arenas or interviews. They became Super Saturday, breakfast at McDonald's, silly car wash races, hours at Chuck E. Cheese, and endless backyard games. He even built a miniature train just for them, determined to show his boys that family came first. Friends teased him, saying the gambler had traded cards for peekaboo, but Kenny was serious about packing 20 years of memories into 10. By 2025, when the twins turned 21, they still honored those Super Saturdays, tall, bearded, and cherishing the childhood he gave them. In May 2019, Kenny was rushed to a Georgia hospital for severe dehydration at age 80, sparking wild media rumors of his death and hospice care. While a spokesperson called it misinformation, he was closely monitored for 2 weeks due to arthritis, back problems, long-term cholesterol issues, and a prior intestinal surgery. Fans gathered outside, holding a sign that read, "Stick around, Kenny," while he reassured them in a video, joking, "Dehydrated? Yes. Holding my cards? Not today. This scare was the most serious since his 2011 heart procedure, and just a year prior he had canceled the final 8 shows of his farewell tour due to health, ending a 6-decade streak of performances at 53 concerts. 1 week after his death, a previously unreleased song, Goodbye, written by Lionel Richie and recorded in 2009, emerged in March 2020. Its soft, intimate lyrics, "No more kisses, no more I love yous," felt like a final letter and resonated instantly, amassing 2.3 million Spotify plays in 2 days. Kenny Rogers passed away at 10:25 p.m. on March 20th, 2020, at age 81, at home in Sandy Springs, Georgia, with Wanda, the twins, and his 3 older children by his side. His last words were to his grandson Kyle over FaceTime: "Be kind, stick together." COVID-19 restrictions prevented a public funeral, but landmarks across the U.S., including the Grand Ole Opry, the Astrodome, and Las Vegas, honored him. A private service followed, and his ashes were placed in a cedar urn he had carved himself, adorned with a joker and a stack of poker chips, as Wonder played Islands in the Stream so heaven could hear. Over his lifetime, he sold 120 million records, won 3 Grammys, and raised 5 children, his youngest 16, his oldest 66. In 2013, at age 75, he was finally inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, accompanied by twin sons and country legends Gary Brooks and Barry Gibb. He became the only artist ever in both the Country Music Hall of Fame and the Gaming Hall of Fame, with 2 #1 pop hits, Lady and Islands in the Stream. Over 46 years, Kenny fathered 5 children, each living unique lives. His first daughter, Carol Lynn, born in 1958, became a psychology teacher in Georgia. Kenny Rogers Jr., born in 1964, pursued acting in faith-based film production. Christopher, born in 1981, avoided show business to restore Airstream trailers in Tennessee. And twins Justin and Jordan, born in 2004, graduated high school in 2023, pursuing audio engineering and marine biology, respectively, embodying Kenny's promise to let his children walk their own paths.